Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 439. I'm Laura, also known as Lala. Did it right this week.
You did get it right this week.
I had to think about it for a second, but I got it right.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. Today is Friday, March 17th.
It is.
This week, it has just been impossible to get together. There's just been a lot of other demands on both of our time.
End of year school stuff.
Yeah, mine is not that. Mine is just, well, partially that, but
you had a graduation and
just
such.
Busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kobe, my son's half-sister, well, one of the two of them graduated. And if you're watching and you think, why does Leslie look like crap this week?
Aww.
I'm doing my part to negate the perpetuation of beauty stereotypes. This is real.
There you go.
Also, I'm just lazy, and it's hot. And
it's 90 degrees in Mississippi already, which is crazy.
And my husband decided that today, while we're recording, is the best time to work on installing a new thermostat upstairs where we record. So the AC has to be off while he's screwing with wires. So anyway,
I mean, it's good that he doesn't get electrocuted.
Safety first and all that. Safety first and collect all the toads. I was sitting out back yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. We have like a little patio with a fire pit thing, and we're trying to burn all the wood from a tree that fell earlier this year, so we burn a little bit every night. And all of a sudden Michael comes from where he's been foraging by the lake. Our house backs up onto a lake. And he brings me this bullfrog that is friggin' enormous.
I'm sure your animals were adoring that.
Well, for some reason it doesn't trigger like the prey thing for Neelix. I don't know
because if
why.
he licks it, his tongue will fall off.
I don't know if it's because it's not a mammal.
If it doesn't taste good, maybe.
Or
maybe
it's
he
got
knows.
a smell.
I
don't know. But it doesn't bug anyway. And then while I was at Laura's house for
Knit
night, he sent me a picture. I didn't even show you this because we were talking about something else and I forgot. Photos. He sent me Wednesday. Oh, I didn't save it. It's still in my
messages.
Why didn't I save it? You'll see.
Aw, it's 3 frogs on top of each other.
Apparently,
or toads, or whatever
it's
they're.
toads, and it's called amplexus when they all get on top of each other.
Are they like cuddling for warmth? What's the purpose of it?
I don't know. They're all men. They're all boys. And I asked him how on earth he knew that, because I feel like that's a legitimate question.
Yeah.
Apparently, the males have black skin on their mouth and they chirp.
Oh. Well, they definitely do the chirping.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the more you know. So, yeah.
That's been your week in a nutshell?
Yes. I also, like Laura mentioned, I went to a graduation for my son's half-sisters. They are my first husband's children, not mine. I mean, not biologically mine, but we spent a ton of time together when they were real little, and I don't see them as much as I used to, but clearly. But
well, because all of them are teenagers now, and they got their own stuff going on.
And holy God, are they teenagers? 17 and 18 years old.
And Kobe's 16.
And Kobe's 16.
Yeah.
And I left my house. The house and my ears were ringing from how loud they, they're 17 and 18 and they fight a lot. Also, they know more about makeup than I will ever know.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ever.
I'm sure.
But yeah, that's that and a lot of stupid work crap you don't care about, so.
There you go.
Laura's in her last full week with the kids. Well,
yeah,
it's
that
over
was
now.
this week. Yep, today was field day. Hence the loveliness that I got going on. But yeah, and then 3 days with kids, 2 of which are 60% days next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, just so you're aware.
Yeah, Kobe just has to go on Tuesday. He's exempt from the other.
Okay. And
exams.
then, yeah, there's a push to get kids there Monday, Tuesday, but not so much on Wednesday. And then I have around 9,000 books left to scan in the library. So it's getting there slowly. I tried to bribe my library helpers with donuts to help me out today, and they were not having even donuts.
Like, isn't
not work
their job to be a helper?
Yeah, but it works best when they're motivated to be helpers. Unmotivated helpers are not super helpful. Well, you have a teenager. They tend to whine.
It's all about the mood.
So I was trying to bribe them with sugar to put them in a better mood, and it worked for my first group, and they really were scanning. And then my second, I don't have anyone second period, and then third period, from that point it was like, I don't really want to do this. So I got a little bit of work out of them, but I decided to go out to field day, which was in the afternoon, because I wanted to participate, but also I'm going to end up doing scanning either today or Thursday. It doesn't really matter. So I might as well have fun on the days that there are fun activities. Monday we have, I get to get all dressed up because we have awards assemblies. And then Tuesday and Wednesday are exams. And that's kind of it. I have to work till Friday. I have 6 hours of personal leave time that I can use. Because the only personal leave time I used this year was when Pearl got hit by the car. So I'm trying to decide if I want to use that to come in late Thursday and Friday and still work, but just like sleep in a couple hours.
You're not going to sleep in anyway.
I know. But it's not something that I can roll over. It disappears at the end of the year.
I'm just saying be honest about it. Read and drink coffee in bed.
Yeah.
Because Pearl won't let you sleep late anyway.
Well, that's true. Oh my gosh, there's a possum outside my door today. We are so off topic.
This is a knitting show.
But there was a possum right outside my bedroom window this morning, so Pearl went nuts at 5 a.m. because there was a possum outside. So the possum heard her barking crazily and attacking the window where it was. And she really wanted that possum. So I watched the possum get on top of the fence, and then I let her out. And she was very motivated. And I don't particularly want a possum in my yard, but I also don't want Pearl to get sick because she's been messing with a possum.
And you don't want a dead possum in your yard even more.
I do not. There's nothing about that sounds good.
Basically, I would be making Michael go over there to deal with the dead possum.
You would. Or Joel if he was coming over. Anyway, I am knitting. I'm going to go first unless you really want to go first. My sweater is kind of on the back burner. I decided this weekend that I was going to save it for Stash Dash. So, it is going to get knit after I get off. Maybe on the way to, I might take it on the way to go to Stitches, because that's like a 6-hour car ride each way. Or I might start the V-neck boxy. The sweater I'm referring to is I'm knitting a Passing Showers sweater out of Plucky Sweater in the Skies of November colorway.
Which is just sort of an open
short
sleeve cardigan.
With some lace detail. And the body's almost done. And the sleeves shouldn't take very long. It's got like 200 yards left to go on it. I don't know. I'm going to see how I am feeling this weekend. My knitting mojo has been very chill lately and not very on the ball. I think it's a combination of testing and being so busy at work and stress about testing, and then just it being 90 degrees outside. It makes it hard to be like, yay, wool! But I did start something new, and I finished something. I am knitting a 2B. This is a pattern by Woolly Wormhead. I'm going to go ahead and do my finished object and what I have in progress. I'm knitting it out of hand spun. This is one size up from the smallest size. It's 14 inches around. What I love about this hat is it looks kind of small, but it totally like grows with the baby's head. And it seems to last very long. It's stockinette panels and reverse stockinette, and this is 2B by Woolly Wormhead. I knit mine on size 6 needles. They're 12-inch circulars, which I love. They were actually some of the first needles I ever bought, and I bought them from a store near Gettysburg that's no longer in business a long, long time ago. But I knit this using some hand spun from my stash. It's superwash merino. It was dyed by Nest Fiber. And I have enough for 2, so I'm knitting the second one right now. That's what's on my needles right now. One is going to a coworker who's pregnant, and she's going to be a stay-at-home mom, so she won't be with us. She'll have 3 boys.
It's a lot.
In a month, which is a lot. All under the age of 5.
Yeah, just 3 boys is enough.
Yeah, I didn't have to add the other part. So she's going to be a stay-at-home mom, and
God, yeah, because it would probably cost her money to send everybody to daycare at that point.
Oh yeah, like you're losing money at that point. So they're doing a diaper drop-off for her, not a baby shower, which I've never experienced before, and it's basically like you drop diapers off in a box that was at her office, but I don't do that.
It's kind of like how people will do for like weddings. They have their own website, and you can just donate $50 to their honeymoon fund or whatever.
Oh yeah,
kind of the same general principle.
I kind of feel like that
for people who don't know what else to do. That's a good solution.
So I knit her a baby hat, and it'll fit in the fall. It's because it's 14 inches around, and most babies' heads are like 12 inches when they're born.
I don't know. We were at Laura's house, and she was trying to get us to figure, or she was trying to get our opinion on the size, and I was like, well, Kobe's head, when he was born, was 21 inches. And
I was like, nope. No, it was not.
And I was like, oh, wait, no, that was his total body length from head to... I don't remember his head circumference.
I didn't realize that they measured head circumference. I'm sure they measure everything. So I'm working on the second one right now. The second one will go into my gift basket for, future babies that will be happening. And I'm knitting those on size 6 Addy 12 inches, and then I have some signature DPNs to do the top. And that's living in one of my Whimsy Stitches bags, my favorite Whimsy Stitches bag.
I like that one too. And it's very different from what he normally does.
Yeah, so he does like this rainbow series, and recently he's been donating some of the proceeds to different charities. So that's pretty cool. And then I got this last year, right before SSK. The other thing that I'm working on is a sock. Don't get super excited. I'm doing Rue City rollers from the toe up, and I have almost a toe.
Those went a lot faster when you were doing them top down.
Well, this was during a staff meeting this week, and it was a 10-minute staff meeting, so that's how much I can knit in 10 minutes. So for a 10-minute staff meeting, not too terrible. And they look kind of wonky. I have worn all the metal off on these Addies.
They show as like brass underneath.
Which is so funny. And they're slightly bent.
Yeah. From how you grip them.
Yeah.
Mine do that too.
These are size 0s. I've put kinks in the cord. I do quite a bit. This is the yarn that I'm using, and it's Knit Picks Felici in the dark side colorway. I would love to get like 5 pairs of Rose City rollers knit over the course of the summer, so that I have summer socks. Not that it's ever cold enough in the summertime for that, but for wearing with tennis shoes or whatever else. I do like some wool. So that is going on here. And then I think that's it. That's it for me for knitting. Those 2 things, really. It is quite warm up here.
Yeah, it is. So I am knitting a couple of different things. I wanted to cast on my next garment, and I was very excited because I bought this Shibui Knits Reed, which is their fingering weight linen, in this gorgeous like rusty dark orange color. And I had a pattern picked out and everything, and so I pulled the pattern up so that I could look at what the gauge could be, or what it needed to be, so I knew what size needles to look for when I went upstairs to wind the skein.
Yeah.
And yeah, it called for fingering weight held double. Not fingering weight. And I didn't have enough held double, because it's like 2,300 yards or something held double. Well, together. Like, that's the total yardage. So...
That's unfortunate.
And I have a really hard time making decisions, especially about garments, where I have to put in all the, you know... It takes a lot of time to knit a garment for this body. So, I just decided not to make a decision yet.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Have you looked at some of the Cocoa Knits patterns? Because they use a lot of linen blends.
And I've got several in my queue, too. I just, you know, my heart was set on that particular thing. So, I just need to browse and spend some time sort of shopping for my next thing. So what I'm using this Expression Fiber Arts yarn. This is the first time I've used this yarn. She sends out a newsletter that's really positive and uplifting, and she sends it out several times a week. And sometimes it's very difficult to not purchase the things that she's put in there. But this was a club, or not a club, like a new monthly colorway that she did. The colorway is called Honorable. It's on her Pearlescent Worsted, which is a superwash merino silk blend.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's got some shine to it. It looks like a single.
So it's like a single ply. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops. There it goes. I'm knitting the Willow Cowl, but in the DK weight.
Yeah.
Or worsted weight. I've knit this in fingering weight before, but never in the DK. And it was a pattern I already owned. So this is, it looks really weird when it's stretched out like this, and I don't typically knit cowls just because I don't feel like they stay where they're supposed to stay. But this is one that's really cool because once you put it on, it sort of compresses and you get these sort of rings of...
Yeah, I remember you knit one before.
In green, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like a little over halfway through. I've still got quite a ways to go. Yeah, I hand wound this downstairs because I just didn't feel like climbing the stairs because I'm old and fat. So this is living in my Madder Root bag.
How cute.
That came from Maryland Sheep and Wool last year. And the other thing that I'm knitting is with, oh, I forgot about that, with some yarn that was sent to us for review. So this is Yarn Vibes in the Veil. It's a worsted, it's sport and worsted weight. I chose only worsted. And it's in the poppy and something else with a P.
It's Harry Potter, Gryffindor colors.
Pollen. It is. Although this is sort of a browner red.
Yeah, well, it's burgundy in some of the things.
Yeah, it's just sort of more muted than, but anyway. And I'm knitting this.
Oh crud! I was just a switch.
Called Cables Are Cool by Barbara Benson. It's been in my queue forever.
It's a chart on the back.
Yeah.
It's a large chart on the back.
This is it's mosaic knitting. So
with cables.
With cables.
Huh.
So you're only ever using one color per row, and these are all slipped cables. So it's interesting. So this is what it looks like so far. I dig it. I don't particularly love knitting it just because of the process of slipping the mosaic stitches. Some rows are really tight because you're crossing a stitch that's been slipped twice.
Oh yeah.
And so you don't have a lot of give on that stitch. So
that's gonna affect how much ease you get to.
But I am liking how it's coming out. The yellow is much more muted on the screen than it is in person. It is very yellow in person.
Yeah.
But I like it so far.
Very Gryffindor. I'm digging it.
And like I said, this was sent to us by yarnvibes.com.
They're a company out of the UK, correct?
Yeah, and they do exclusively Irish yarn, and the way they process their yarn is without any chemicals or anything.
Oh, they do the sit and let it ferment type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's super cool.
And while in the skein it feels a little bit scratchy, which you would expect to some degree, it's actually really pleasant to knit with. Like, I don't even notice the rustic nature of it when I'm knitting with it. So more on that once I've actually finished the hat. But I'm enjoying knitting with the yarn. I'm not enjoying every fourth row where I have to cross a slipped stitch that's been slipped twice with no give. But it is a cool pattern, so I think it'll be worth it. So those are my 2 things I'm working on.
You have an FO though.
I do, but it's
a giant FO.
It's not really in a place where I can show you guys like what it looks like. So this is the Sakasama jacket, which is by Olga Jazzy, Olga Borrelia Kefalian. She will be teaching at our summer knitting retreat called SSK. And I finished this. It's out of Habu N35, which is a viscose from rayon or rayon from viscose, one of the 2 of those. And it can be worn 4 ways. You can wear it with the knits side out and the collar along the bottom, with the knit side out with the collar along the top, or with the purl side out. Those 2 options.
Okay.
So I haven't washed it. It hasn't been blocked, so I need to do all that.
You can come over to my house and do that this weekend.
Yeah, I might, because it really needs a board to be blocked, because you really have to stretch it out and give it some shape. So, yeah. I mean, I'm glad I'm done with it, because the yarn wasn't a dream to work with, but at the same time, it won't add any warmth, which for me is a good thing. So hopefully I'll be able to wear this at SSK.
That'll be super cute.
Or put it in the tasting room or whatever.
Try it on room.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. That room. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I have 0 spinning because I just haven't. I do have a giant zit that's showing up super great on camera. That's just for you. Am I 38 and still getting huge zits? Yep.
I do have some spinning. So I started spinning on my Shacked Reeves this weekend, and I did 3 bobbins long drawed, and then I 3-plied them. I did learn that if there is anything, like any kind of dust or basically I learned that even though I added oil, I should wipe down my wheels.
So her flyer on her Shacked Reeves, which is the one with the big giant wheel.
It's a Saxony style wheel.
The flyer fits into this piece of stiff leather with a bearing inside of it that it fits into. Mm-hmm. And somehow a tiny piece of grit or dirt or sand or something got into that. And so it's metal against metal, and usually there's just oil, so it lubricates it and it moves fine. But there's that little piece of grit that got in there somehow. And
so there was glitter on my wheel, and I was like, how did there become glitter on my wheel?
Glitter,
and it was
by way of shaving. Of
metal.
Yeah.
So my flyer is much narrower now than it was before.
Just the tip.
Just the tip.
That would be a great title. But we would come up on some terrible searches.
But I called Shacked, and I can order a new flyer from them, so that'll happen eventually. It works for now, but over time it's going to wear through the flyer. So I'll go ahead and just take care of that pretty soon. Anyway, so then I spent all that long draw, and then I plied it. I 3-plied it on my Hanson mini spinner, and I filled up the whole bobbin because this is 9 ounces, and I got 400 yards. It smells pretty good too. This was a fleece that I washed several years ago. We bought it at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and it was a Cordale blend. And we split it because I only had a pound after washing, so we must have split it.
I'll probably have the other half if you want it.
No, I think I'm okay. And so I'm going to get... So when Amy Florence was here, I made all these bats, and then I sample spun around 3 ounces and got around 190 yards from those 3 ounces, maybe a little bit less, like 100 yards from those 3 ounces. And so I have this 400, so I have 500 right now. And I have around 5 ounces left to spin, so I'll probably end up with around 700 yards altogether. So good for like a body of a sweater with some color work at the yoke or something along those lines.
Or a striped sweater.
Yeah, or stripes. Yep. So, but it's moving a whole fleece out of my... So this whole fleece fit into a Home Depot bucket, and now it's this big, which makes me very happy.
So the whole fleece didn't fit in there, just those bats.
Well, all the fleece that I had, the half that we had split.
So this is all of it?
There's 2 bats left, but yeah.
Oh. Wow. Oh, I thought you said this was only 4 ounces.
No, this is 9 ounces.
Oh, that was where my confusion was.
Yep. And then I have another little mini skein somewhere that I was doing the sampling with. So yeah, giant skein, too. So yeah, I'll get probably around 700 yards. I'll show you guys the rest of it when I'm done with it. I have a smidge left to spin. One of the bats has more lanolin in it than the others.
Oh, excuse me.
And it's annoying to spin because it's sticky. I'm not a fan of spinning in the grease. But yeah. So, it's about the size of my head. And it's just brown. It's a pretty boring spin, but at least it goes fast on the reefs. Because that adds a lot of twist very quickly. So that is what I have for spinning. When it comes to reading, Michael just walked in. When it comes to reading,
you can't do that because then it makes it look like a strobe light's going on. Sorry, you tried to turn on the fan. We've tried that before, and it looks like a disco.
Yeah. I'm reading Burn Baby Burn by R.J. Blaine. It's the new one in the magical comedy with a body count. It's the same lady who did the Zodiac fish thing. This one has
mysterious ethereal koi.
Yes.
Mischievous ethereal koi.
Yes. This one has a unicorn, a cindercorn. So it's a unicorn that eats napalm.
That was in
Okay, so this is the sequel to that other
okay.
one. So it's a sequel to whatever the first one, which also had fire and a cindercorn in it. And they're married now, but there's gorgons and angels and demons, and I don't know. They're at least humorous. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading, and it's taking me forever, I feel like, but I haven't had a ton of reading time either. What have you been reading?
Not much, actually. I finished Born in Fire, rereading that one. I'm rereading the second one, Raised in Fire. I'm almost done with that. And I'm listening to the last book in the Tales of Verania series, A Wish Upon the Stars, which Laura hasn't read because she refuses to...
I don't like ending series.
Well,
I will this summer.
And there's sadness at the end of
the
the
I don't
third
like
one.
it.
So...
I'll do it, though. That and the last Lana Andrews for this summer's plan.
So, I've read the last in the series, but I hadn't listened to it. I do find that I really like the narrator, Michael Leslie, but I do find that when he narrates this particular series, he talks really slow because he's narrating as the character who's like a 21-year-old kid who's sort of angsty and, sarcastic, and so he draws everything out.
Kind of a twink.
Yeah. And so the narrator does that too, which, is good for character portrayal, but I have to bump the speed up to 1.25 or else it just makes me crazy. So, and that's actually the only audiobook series that I've ever bumped up. Usually it's...
Oh no, I've done that before. I'm trying to think what other ones I've done that with. I don't know.
I think that's basically all I've been reading. I did, I had pre-ordered the 4th one in the Tell Me It's Real TJ Klune series, the one with the Queen and the Homo Jock King.
Yeah.
And then the 3rd one is... I forget what it's called, but it's the one where they get married. And then the 4th one, these are all male-male romance. And then the 4th one is about Corey, who is not gender binary. And I pre-ordered it, and it came out this week. I haven't started it yet, but it's called Why We Fight. But that's it. What about favorite things? Oh, I had a class this
you did.
weekend.
Did you brought your stuff up? Good.
So I did a class with our friend Eloise, who is we met via the local knit night.
Many years ago,
yeah.
like 11 or 12 years ago.
And if you've ever been to SSK, you've probably met her.
Yep.
But she's someone we see weekly at Knit Nights. She's great. And so she came, and then another friend of mine, Erica, came as well. And so we did this wax resist dyeing. And it's essentially using wax as a buffer for dye. In this case, it was on silk scarves. So you draw out a design, and let's say you draw a circle, and then you dip your item in black dye. Then when you pull it out and you take that wax off, you'll have a white circle because it doesn't take the dye.
Yeah.
So it's a resist technique.
Then if you dipped it again in a different color, that white would change
to whatever the new color is. Plus you'd have that new color overlay the existing black.
Yeah, the black.
So,
but if it's black, it's not like a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I feel like this to some degree relates to spatial reasoning, because you have to think about what you want 3 steps kind of ahead. Well, maybe strategy is a better way to say it. And I'm terrible at that, so I only kind of got one thing that I liked out of the class. Well, the knowledge was great. The teacher was great. The environment was great. I didn't end up with what I thought I was going to, because I sort of did the opposite of what I was supposed to get the colors that I wanted, because, you know, why wouldn't you? So this is one of the items. Well, it's the same pattern over and over. Yeah. So I started with the X's, I think, and then I did the little squares. This is a quilting pattern, so quilters probably recognize it. And then this was my final thing, because I couldn't think of anything else to do. I don't particularly love it, but it is a learning experience. So. Yeah. There's that, and then this one.
I bet your dad's girlfriend would like that.
Maybe.
Those seem like her colors.
Yeah.
Isn't she really
she is
like
a purple fan?
Yeah. I bet that would be a good thing to put away for her.
So this, for some reason, so I've been thinking a lot about shibori, and shibori is a technique where you essentially cover a lot of the fabric with either wooden blocks, or you tie it with string or rubber bands, or you do an intricate fold, and then you cover the middle parts, and the edges get exposed to the dye, so the edges create an outline of color. Well, that's what I did with this, except I don't know why, dummy self, if you cover the edges in wax, then the edges don't get the color, dummy. So that's...
It was opposite.
Yeah.
Of what you were thinking.
Yeah. So I just kind of had to figure something out. So this is what I ended up with. A little octopus in the middle.
Oh, I didn't see the octopus. Oh, he's cute.
And then little like raindrops, and then my final color was this bright blue. And at this point the initial wax was starting to crackle, because it had been immersed in dye so many times that it was starting to crackle. So it took some of the blue. So this one I don't dislike, but I wouldn't go as far as to say I really, really like it. So
cute.
I might like iron it and hang it on a wall or something. But yeah, I had a good time. The teacher was great. Like, she gave you information and then enough freedom to just do whatever you wanted. And I probably will take classes there again, because I really liked her vibe.
And that was the social club?
It's 5-in-1 Social. If you're Memphis, it's down on Broad Avenue, which is Midtown.
And that's where the new yarn shop's going to be.
It is, yeah. It was Sunday, so they were not open anyway, so
yeah,
I did not go by. I have not been yet, but I will.
Yeah. We finished off Clothing Conservation Month, and Stash Dash will start next Friday. So we'll do the Stash Dash. The polls are open for people to vote on some rule changes, and then we will do our rules video next week sometime, and then it'll start Friday. Oh my goodness. So yeah, it looks like all the rule changes, people want the rules to stay the same, like nothing's being overturned, which is interesting.
I think the rules are pretty, for the most part, they're really flexible. I don't know. Laura is the stash maven. I do not get in her way. I just do whatever she needs me to do to make it work.
Yeah, I'm gonna change the phrasing, I think, regardless of how the poll goes on the like 1K and below, where people can set their own goals underneath 1K so that more people can participate, but also the highest one and above so people can set their own goals. Like Amy Florence wants to do like 30,000, and there's not gonna be a goal that's that high, but she could post that and then
I'm not even trying to be sneaky about that. That is bananas.
Oh, Amy.
But rock on with your bad self. You want to do it, rock on.
But yeah. So there's that. We'll be at Stitches United, which will be the following week. So 2 weeks from now, we will be on our way back, actually. We'll be there all day Thursday taking classes. I'm free Thursday afternoon. So if you're going to be hanging out Thursday afternoon, let me know. And then Thursday we'll go to the market when it's open 3 hours.
Oh, it's
at
at
night.
3, okay.
Yeah. And then we might go in the morning, Friday morning, or we might just come back. We'll probably just browse or do whatever.
Probably we'll get back to the room Thursday night and be like, ooh, where'd you get that?
Yeah, that's what normally happens.
Yeah. We should probably make a hotel reservation at some point.
Yeah, we should. And I need to talk to Kobe about watching Pearl.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. What else? I just had something. Oh, so I've sent out email requests to everyone about door prizes for SSK. If you are attending SSK, or even if you're not, and you're a vendor and you're interested in donating door prizes, we're going to do something.
Creator of goods.
Yeah, a maker.
Yeah.
We're going to do something different with door prizes this year, which we think will be beneficial in several ways. We're going to display door prizes. We're going to get like pegboard or grid wall. I haven't decided what's the better option. And
so can I back up for a second? So at SSK, you get to select what door prizes you want to put your tickets in for. We don't choose for you. That way people always get what they want.
So a spinner doesn't end up, or a non-spinner doesn't end up with fiber.
Yeah. Or spindles or whatever. So we always have like paper bags where you can put stuff in. We're going to, usually the opening night and the closing night. And
so the prizes are always laid out in the auditorium where we welcome everybody and we do, we give out some information. But there's always sort of a backlog. It's sort of a traffic jam because people have to look at what's there and decide what they want to put their tickets in for. And we've never really put a lot of thought into how to make that better, which is kind of silly. But this year we're going to do grid wall or pegboard or something, and we're going to have all of the door prizes will be available for you to look at beforehand. Yeah. And we'll have bags out where you can put your your tickets in ahead of time if you want, so that there's no.
Because we always have people who are like, "Oh, I found tickets to you later." Yeah. So.
Plus, if you're a vendor, this is good for you because you're constantly going to have people looking at your stuff.
Yeah, if you're one of the people who are providing the door prizes.
Right. Yeah, so...
and we also list all the prizes online as well on the blog, which is super fun. I get to play and take pictures of them all.
But one of the great things that a lot of our attendees do is they're very active on social media, so, they may take a picture of the wall of prizes and say, ooh, I want this one and this one. And so there's opportunity for even more exposure. So if you're interested in attending, in donating a door prize, please just contact either Laura on Ravelry. Her name is Lala. Yep. Or you can email me. My email address is the same as my Ravelry name. You don't call me Les at gmail.com, or Leslie at TheKnitGirlls, or Laura at TheKnitGirlls. Yep. It'll all get to us.
Yep, totally will. So we're going to shop for some grid wall then.
Yep. I've already priced out, and I think Uline is our best option.
Okay.
So
cool.
So yeah, I think that's it for this week. I am turning super pink because I'm
it is
very warm. So we're going to say goodbye. We'll talk to you again probably in less than a week because we've got to stop recording on Fridays. We're never going to get caught up. But anyway,
you guys... read Thursday last week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time we're almost back on track, something happens and pushes us out. So anyway, you guys have a lovely week, and we will talk to you again next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.